Hey guys, this is the Ziine Amigos, anxiously awaiting for our next interview with Zachary Blevins. Also waiting for some amazing food cooked by Chef Alex out of Adolios restaurant located inside Sunrise Mall. Please, we're hungry.
Aquí desde la cocina de Adolios, saludos, aquí Chef Alex con ustedes y todo mi equipo de cocina.
Con Mario, en el mejor servicio, un servidor, Pedro Sainz, que aquí estamos para servirles con el mejor sazón de las bebidas del Valle. Claro que sí, solo en Adolios.
Hey guys, this is Zachary Thompson again with interview number 2. I'm here with Zachary Blevins at the patio of Adolios. Zachary, I hear you're a pretty creative person, and you like doing dark comedy.
Yeah. What's up with the hands? Pick up the volume.
Be louder.
He's telling me to pick up the volume.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I do comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Calling it dark's almost like an insult, though.
Yeah.
'Cause it's my life, and then
Okay.
I just interject like inappropriate things in between like certain segments of it, and then sometimes people laugh, but usually like if I'm in Harlingen or like Brownsville, for instance, no one.
Yeah,
I hit pretty hard McAllen though.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. I need to get to a show, man, because that's like our style here. So, I mean, what got you into that?
In comedy.
Yeah.
Man. Well, I guess the first time like I got into like comedy as an art form, like not the content that I base it off of. My great grandfather showed me a Richard Pryor special when I was
Nice.
9.
Yeah.
And from there I got I was really big into Richard, really big into Eddie Murphy. And then like as I became a teenager, Joe Rogan came out and I got really into him, Bill Burr, Bill Hicks, like just the list like keeps going like of great people. Like right now we're in like a really good time to be doing comedy. Cause I mean for the last like 10 years, right, like it's been like anything goes, right, but like now people are getting canceled again, and I really like that. Yeah, like it's just like every time like you go on stage, right, it might be the last time you get to be in public.
That's always fun.
It's fun, right? It's like it's a balancing act that you have to do.
Except right now I'm on probation, man.
Yeah.
Shit.
You might not want to hang out with me.
Jeez. Beep. Honk. Anyway, okay, what sorry. What I mean, you say you have stuff that's out there that might get you kicked off or not able to be seen in public. What's an example?
Well, it's mainly just like stuff that would make people feel uncomfortable, right? Like I go deep into mental illness. I go into childhood trauma, which like isn't in and of itself like something that would get you canceled, but the way that I present it, and the way that I guess I try to normalize what happened, kind of rubs people the wrong way. Like it's not uncommon for like a group of like sensitive people to get up and walk out.
See, that's that's not a bad thing though. As someone who also suffers from anxiety disorders myself, and I'm not ashamed to say it, but I'd love to see that. I really do, because I find a lot of humor in my own situation
like,
too.
I gotta edit that.
Yeah,
I'm struggling. Like,
I have no words anymore, man.
I know. Like you took away all my vowels, like nouns, pronouns, adjectives.
Yeah. And
breaks for speech, any of that.
I hear that, man.
Yeah.
I can't talk, man. It's like tying my hands behind my back, man. It's shit. And then you also do a bit. You delve in a little bit into photography, and I've seen your photography, and I love the style. I love that artistic feel. What got you into that?
Man, that's the weird one, right? Because like I've always like taken pictures and stuff. Like I think everybody else with a cell phone now. But at one point I started getting really enticed by like really ugly things, right?
Yeah.
So like if you look at like my earlier stuff, it was like urinals. And like, you know, like just weird stuff, right? Like it would be the handle for, you know, a toilet or the doorknob to the bath, like a lot of bathroom stuff, really. I feel like I spent a lot of time in the bathroom. But like the whole thing, and like I would try to like catch reflective surfaces, like this microphone. I like that. Like that's like I want to take a picture of that at some point. But what I would do is I would get something that seemed seemingly normal, right, and then push each individual element of it to the max to like try and invoke some feeling of anxiety in the person looking at it. The whole idea wasn't for it to be aesthetically pleasing. Like I wanted it to be disturbing to a certain extent and make you feel uncomfortable by looking at it. And that's also why like I choose like the angles that I pick, because I don't want to make things
aesthetic.
Yeah, like I like to shoot trash or like dilapidated buildings. And now instead of like trying to make you uncomfortable with it, I've kind of like stopped taking Zoloft, so like I put color into my photos. And like the idea behind it now, or at least what I'm trying to like convey, is I want to take something that's seemingly ugly and make it something that can be appreciated.
Nice.
Like there's a photo that I haven't touched yet, and I brought these back with me, but I was in Matamoros the other day, like just walking around. And you probably saw it, right? Yeah.
Nice.
I do. I feel like I'm always like just constantly like posting stuff, and like I don't care if it overwhelms you.
No.
It overwhelms me though. But like I was sitting on this little like brick enclosure for like a tree, and I found like a mold for dentures inside of it, and I got the weirdest picture off of it. But like I brought them back with me. It's like they're in my office right now.
you found his.
They're probably his dentures. Yeah.
You found Ernest's dentures. He took them off to do well. Beep. Anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. It's I don't know. I find beauty in a lot of ugly things, and I think like that's probably the main correlation between all the things that I do.
Yeah.
Like with comedy, like even when it comes to like film stuff I write, I like taking situations or things that you wouldn't perceive to be as like nice or pleasant and make it something that you can digest.
And you know, I think from one Zachary to another, even though only one of us is real and has a great grandfather that was named Zachary.
Me?
Yeah. You know, I like your style. I really do, because it reminds me a lot of the stuff that I'm trying to get back to. You know, I kind of lost myself, like say in career and things like that, and I've been a fiend.
I guess for me, did you like what led to that? Like, how did you get to the place to where you're not something that you started out as? Like, was it commercialism, or like trying to do portraiture work, or trying to get it put into stuff? Like, what did that for you?
It was not having enough time.
Okay.
You know, it just, you know, not almost had to be myself again. You know, having to do the 9 to 5 and stuff, and not having the luxury of the time I used to have. But
delving into like obscurities just for the sake of doing it.
You know, hours and days and weeks at a time. You know, and that's what, you know, when I look at your work, it just amazes me, and it brings me back to that place. I'm excited to see more of your stuff, and I want to go to you know, your shows, because dude, I'll probably, if I'm the last person there, shit,
I'll invite you to the one my therapist is gonna go to.
Oh hell yeah,
he's been trying to go, and I'm like, do I charge you $150 an hour for this as well?
I hear you, man. I hear you. Well, everybody, Zachary Thompson, Zachary Blevins.
on to the next one.
How's it going, man? This is Gabriel. I'm here introducing a good friend of ours. And so we're just here to ask him a couple of personal questions. Real person. We're going to get real person up in here. No bad words, bro. All right. So I know we're both like kind of holding back because we can't say stuff. Anyway, so what do you feel when you're doing comedy? What holds you back? What do you feel like? Oh man, I shouldn't say that because nowadays people are real sensitive about stuff. You can't, everybody gets insulted, because somebody's gay, because of this, because of whatever, you can't say nothing. And it's not because it's not an insult. I know as a comedian, you just talk about everyday life, people you come across, and you come across a different, variety of people.
I think that the thing for me, and I don't hold back.
Okay.
And which is why I'm like so shocked that like I'm still doing it, especially like now, right? And like everything that like there's not a subject that's like not touchy, like in society right now that I don't touch on. And I mean, like you get people who like get offended by it and like they want to talk to you like after the show or something. Be like, hey, my kid has whatever. Like, and like I understand it, right? But the thing is like it comes from a place like where we're all at, and like they're words, right? And like words have meaning and they can hurt or whatever. But for me, it just comes from like trying to make light of something. And I think like with where we're at and like living in society, that it's more of a joke than like kind of like what I do. So there's not enough time to be offended. Like just
but people get offended.
They do, and they spend all of their time like on Facebook, like talking shit in comment sections and like doing nothing mostly. And I mean it's annoying, right? But they're also not, the people that I'm trying to like appeal to or whatever. The whole thing is like to try and get people who have like experienced something or have gone through something and give them something to like lean into for an evening, to like realize that like, hey, maybe I'm not the only person that this has happened to, and this is kind of funny.
Exactly.
And
we got to see life, the funny side of life.
Yeah.
Regardless of whatever situation we're going through, we have to see, the light, the positive side of life.
Yeah, even if it is bad.
Yeah, even, whatever, if you have a missing leg, it's like, hey, you know what?
Make fun of it. Like, you see, you hesitate, but like...
Yeah, I do, man. I do hesitate.
But it's funny.
So I wonder how you feel when you're out there, and then, you have a friend, so you feel comfortable about
I hang out with comics, right? Yeah. Like, I hang out with other people who do something similar. I don't try to surround myself with people who might be offended by something. It's too much to balance, right? So, like, my close circle of friends are... mostly, we all have a lot of shared experiences, but we all put it out into the world in a different way.
And what's the first reaction? Worst reaction you've gotten from an audience member or somebody after you said something that was kind of touchy?
I mean, the worst one is like, I guess it was like this guy and his wife who came up to me after a show, and like his wife had like gone through something similar to like what I had gone through, and she didn't feel comfortable hearing about it, right? But that's like kind of not my problem. Like you went to a comedy show, like it's on the thing.
Exactly.
Like I do a disclaimer before I start, like that there's going to be some topics covered that you might not like. And like, if you don't like it, I'm sorry. This is therapy for me, and you showed up. Like, you don't have to be here.
Yeah, they walked into your therapy.
Yeah, and like, cool. Like, like get on Twitter and rant about me, please. Like, you're only doing me a favor.
But you know what? I don't think it's so much that you're making fun of people with anything.
It's not about making fun of.
No, you're talking about your experience, and you've experienced a lot of different things, a lot of issues that somebody might have. So you're talking from your point of view.
Yeah.
Whether they get offended by it
or have learned how to address it,
Exactly.
or address it or not. That's not on me.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's so many things that like can go wrong in the world, right?
Exactly.
And so many things that like touch on so many groups that like get offended by things or get upset about things. And if like we have to just walk around all day like creating a padded bubble for these people, like we don't actually get to interact with people. We never say what we're actually thinking, and it gets tiresome.
Yes, it
like I
does.
shouldn't like go home exhausted at the end of the day because I had to talk to people.
Yeah.
Like
it should be a pleasure meeting new people, talking to new people, expressing yourself, speaking your mind. But nowadays you don't know who gets offended. I go around speaking my mind. If they get offended, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It wasn't my intent, and I'm sure you feel the same way when you're out there.
I try
but-
not to get offended.
Yeah.
Like I think one of the only things that I get offended by are like people who just like habitually stay offended. Like,
Yeah.
it's the only like what are you so mad about?
Yeah, like,
you know,
get over it, you
like
know,
what are
it's
you
just-
like? What is your day like? For you to like care so much that like I made a joke about being disabled. Like, 'cause for me it's pretty funny. Like getting in an argument with someone, right, and them stealing your cell phone and like locking themselves in the bathroom, but like having to hop like through the door butt naked, on one leg because you need your cell phone back because all your secrets are getting exposed. Like that's funny to me.
Yeah.
But like, maybe that disability is not funny to someone else, but like that's my experience, and like all I'm here to do is to talk about it.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, for real, if you don't like it, don't listen. Like you don't have to like cancel people or make it hard for people to live.
Cool. What about your art, man? Have you thought about, I know you do photography and all that. Have you thought about expanding, showing your work? Or, having a display?
I've thought about it. It's really weird for me, right? Because like I don't do it like through the guise of like thinking of myself as a photographer. Like I just like to take photos, and I like to make them look weird, and I like to share them with people. So like the platform that like I do that on, right? It's like, here, have it. And I haven't really thought about what it would like take to like put it like out there. I am working on like a photo book, which is like something I'm doing solely like to get to a point to where I can have like a body of work and then put a stamp on it and then transition into something else. Change the style, change like the way that I'm doing things, and grow that way.
Yeah.
That way, like I'm not reliving the greatest hits constantly. I do the same thing with comedy too. Like I don't record shows, I don't record jokes. I'm collecting all of it until like I feel like it's at a point to where I can present it all in one full featured thing, and then I'll never tell any of those jokes ever again. And that's kind of what I want to do with photography.
So, okay, back to comedy. When you go out there and you're in front of people, is it something you wrote before, or you just go out there and just kind of wing it?
I have a process, yeah.
Okay, what is that process more or
I
less?
do,
if you could, let us in on it.
I do a lot of open mics, and those are where I work things out. So I do a little bit of writing, but not too much. Mainly what I'll do is I'll figure out how much time I have, and then I'll put a list of topics that I want to hit within that time frame, and then I'll record like audio while I'm doing it, and from that I'll go home, look at it, see like what worked, what didn't work, twist it around a little bit, bring it back, keep doing that. It's almost like the same way I edit photos and stuff. Like I'll take a picture of something like shitty. I can say shitty, right? That one's not bad. Okay. I'll take a picture of something shitty, right? And like it's inherently a bad picture, right? And like sometimes I'll tell a joke that's like a bad joke. Like I have like a joke about like solving the white problem in America by like putting them all in homeschool, so when they do like shoot up the school, they only kill their parents. But like it took a long time to make that work. Like that it flopped like for months, and like I didn't want to give up on it because I thought it was good.
But do you think it was your audience
No, it wasn't the audience, it was the delivery, right? So like in the same way that like I edit photos, right? Like I have like something that's seemingly shitty on the outside, but like when you start delving into like the little intricacies of like highlights or saturation, like you move it a little bit. And you do the same thing with jokes. Like you insert something here, you heighten on one thing, and then like by the end of it you have something that's like hopefully cohesive and understandable.
You build up a story to make that the punchline, and it doesn't flop.
No, yeah, exactly. Or like sometimes I'll tell a joke knowing it'll flop, just so like I can tell another story to like work around back to that one that flops to like make it make sense. And it's just about interweaving like content and stories, and I hate to like call it an art form, right? Because I personally hate being called an artist or like anything like like I just, it feels weird to me because like I'm really blessed in like that I get to do whatever the hell I want, right? So like if I want to show up to a school board meeting and then like sue somebody and then like get them removed, but then like turn around and do like a 30-minute stand-up special, like I will, and like that's just like that's how I operate, right? And I know that like a lot of people like have to like say I'm an artist because they have to proclaim this profession, and they have to do it because they have to make it and they have to make money off of it, where like I'm just creating shit and I don't give a shit who sees it or likes it. Like all of it's for me.
You know what? I have a very similar view on that. I create art. I don't consider myself an artist. Sometimes people call me an artist, but I don't call myself an artist.
It feels weird, right? Yeah. Like to self-proclaim that.
I think I'm a creative person.
Yeah.
I'm a creative person because I don't just paint. I could talk to people, be creative with words, with everything. You put something in front of me and I can get creative with it. It doesn't have to be paint. Mm-hmm. So you give me a problem, I'll try to solve it because I'm being creative. And that somebody might not see that as hard because I'm trying to solve a problem. Yeah. But my creativity is what's going to help me solve that problem. I think that's what you're trying to say.
Is, well, like
you don't want to have that label as artist.
And then like, what's the problem like that we're trying to solve, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to fix my own problem.
Yeah.
And
so you find a creative way to solve it.
Yeah.
So it's I think it serves more of a purpose.
Yeah.
To be creative than just to be an artist.
Yeah.
So
I think when you become an artist, right, you start creating things for other people.
Yes.
And I think that's when stuff just goes downhill.
Yeah, because now you're not doing what you want to do. You're doing what to please others, what they're asking you to do, and it kind of becomes like
it becomes work.
Yeah,
I don't know.
We're gonna jump in really quick to that one. When we started with the magazine stuff like that in the beginning, it was for us, and then we're not being creative no more, and we didn't like the transition, so we said, you know what? Let's start small again, and we're doing it for the whole purpose of being creative. Because if we're doing it for business, is not it was never our intention. Our intention just to get our stuff out there.
That's how you stay true to yourself, right? And how you keep, like, Kevin Smith made Clerks, right?
Yeah.
Clerks was fantastic. He made Dogma, still a good movie, but then he made Chasing Amy, and that shit was bad. He made Tusk, and that shit was bad. And he had like a peak where like he was making a lot of stuff for himself, but he got like some commercial notoriety, started making bad films, and then he kept making bad films, but these bad films were for him. And now he's like in this spot where he's one of the most listened to people. Like people go to his movies now, and like Red State was phenomenal. Like he made that movie for himself based off of an experience that he had. And it's I have a really hard time dealing with like the commercialization of things. Yeah. Like I could never submit something for like stock photos, or if like I won't do corporate gigs for comedy. I'll do private like things, private parties, but like I won't do like a cleaned up version of the act for some business that wanted to hire a comedian. I think
it kind of seems like that's where you approach a lot of things in life.
Yeah.
Art, comedy, and life itself.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's I don't I really struggle with like holding back.
Like right now we're both holding back.
Yeah, a little bit, right?
Yeah.
But I really want to say.
Okay. Would you say this is for you, man? Would you say you're someone who is described as with having no filter?
Oh, totally. Yeah. And it, like I can, right? Like fully capable. I've done it, but I don't care to do it.
Yeah.
And I think like the most depressed I've ever been was like at the peak of having to censor myself. And it's it doesn't feel good. Like I mean I recently like withdrew candidacy from the school board because I felt like I wouldn't be able to fully be myself all the time because
you don't have the spotlight on you.
Exactly.
24/7.
And like you don't have to, right? But like I mean if you're running for something, like the obvious goal is to win. And I don't like think that I could balance all of the stuff that it would require to like adequately represent a district and do the job if like I'm out here, you know, being me. And like kudos,
which is not a bad thing to be.
Yeah, it's not. I'm pretty.
Not everybody sees.
Not everybody wants to be me either.
Yeah.
Like some people are really comfortable like moving into these positions and living a life like that. And like kudos to them, but I can't do it.
Awesome. What do you think about Andy Kaufman?
Andy Kaufman, oh my God. I hope he's still alive. I really do. Andy Kaufman was, he was an interesting cat, right? Like he got into wrestling and he would like wrestle women, right? Like he only wrestled women. And like the whole thing was like misogynistic and like, but like it was just like, it's shock value, right?
Yeah.
It gets people out of their current state of thinking and like looks at something in a different way because, well, is it misogynistic for a man to wrestle a woman? Like, wouldn't like true feminism be for that woman to be able to wrestle that man? And he like makes people grapple with these concepts that like they talk about but might not necessarily get behind when it comes time to actually do it. Like one of his biggest bits was the Mighty Mouse, like on SNL, right? Like he put down a record player and just put it on and then lip synced the whole song, and like never did a bit, never did anything funny, like quote unquote. But I mean, he's celebrated, you know, because he forced people to like come out of like their comfort. Come out of like a traditional way of thinking and look at something in a way that they may not have looked at it before. And I mean, if like we do want to like subscribe as like artists or whatever, or creative people, I mean that's kind of like the whole point behind it, right? Like if you're not creating something that either doesn't like, I hate corporate art, right? Like because like what do you get when you look at it? Nothing, like absolutely nothing. And for me, like art, I guess I get hatred out of corporate art, so maybe it is doing something. But for me, like it's supposed to like invoke a feeling. And if I look at some like modern structure that's just like some weird interlooping shapes with like a ball floating in a pond, like I get absolutely nothing from that. But like I did this thing, I don't know if you saw the video, but Ron English did an installation right next to the border. And it's put up on like plywood, still there. It's been there for months. I put that up, and not because like I had any insight, anything. Like someone needed it put up, and I was like, hey, I'll put it up. Yeah. And like that thing invoked a lot of like negative attention from a lot of people, and cool. Like it served its purpose. The whole thing is to make you think like, well, what is this about? And whether you agree with it or not, like it's still serving some form of a purpose.
Awesome.
How you guys doing? This is Ziine Amigos. I'm here with he doesn't need no introduction. I forgot that we already did it. So basically, we're in the ending of this episode, and I just have a couple questions. One of them is, are you gonna write a book or something about other songs that you do?
I wouldn't know where to start.
You wouldn't know where to start?
No, because it's a weird thing, right? Like, this is all of my stuff laid out, right? Everything that's happened, everything that I am, everything that I do, everything that I think, and I don't know if I think that people, like, if I care to, like, I share it, right? But like, why? Like, why would I do it? It feels. I feel like I am a pretty selfish, like self-centered person at times, but I don't know if I'm that ego-driven that I think people would want to read a book about me.
Oh, that being said, like, I like writing, but I don't write it for people. I write it for myself. So you were saying that you do everything for you, for your own pleasure, so you can just write something.
Yeah, you're right.
Just for you.
Yeah, I could. I guess what I do with that book would be the part that matters, right?
Now you can just probably put it free online, and people, if somebody wants it, they can download it. If not, at least you know that you got something written.
I didn't think about it like that, honestly, but it's a pretty good point.
Yeah, because for me, I have to write, and I write a lot of dark, sad, depressed, and then real stuff. 99% of my stories are based on different things, and my conclusion of that is a way, like you say, like therapy, when you're talking about everything that you do. And I was telling Zachary right now, like, man, like, we're all crazy, like, we all have our own issues, and everybody uses different things. Like, you got photography, comedy, Gabriel does some different type of art, Zachary does photography, writing, graphic designs, a little bit of everything that he has. But overall, I agree with you, man. And when Zachary, sometimes we have like distant moments, and what happens is that you were mentioning that when you start doing stuff like for money or stuff like that, like you lose your whole creativity.
You don't want to do it.
No. And like one of the things, like, he was like, man, I don't like doing ads, like, it's not creative. And then we were doing commercials too, and we're like, man, like, commercials, they're nice, but like,
it's like they pay well, but like, I want to do that forever?
Do you want to do it? Yeah.
And then you get so consumed in making them that, like, you don't get to go back to, like, the things that you were actually driven to do. Yeah, I didn't think of it like that. I think maybe there could be a way to combine everything into one body of work, and just putting it out there would be probably the only way that I would do it, and that actually seems not like the worst idea ever. Like, it doesn't even matter if there's a demand for it. Like, it's more about being able to get all of the thoughts out there and get all of this. It's kind of like the putting together a body of jokes and then moving on past those and not telling them anymore. And maybe one of the best ways to move on would be to put all of those thoughts down and all those experiences down on paper and then just leave them there. Yeah. And I don't hate that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. But one thing about you were in the military as well, and I have a story. We were in Kuwait in 2002, and we had this friend. His name is he was actually a sergeant, Sergeant Villegas, and he's gonna be pissed for me sharing this story. So we were running information around the FOB, and he ate something the night before that he's not supposed to eat from the locals. Yeah. So we're running information, and he's running, and every time for a porta potty, like, it was like quarter a mile or a mile to get to one. And by the time that he got to it, like, he starts running, and the whole formation is, he takes off, breaks formation and takes off, and all of a sudden you see everything dripping from his, from his leg, and we had those PT gray,
just brown stain.
The brown stains.
Not in the military, that happened to you.
That didn't happen to me.
It happens to me regularly.
No, that happened to me, and so now that you mentioned it, I went to Stripes, and I'm buying some stuff. I'm in line, and all of a sudden, I feel my leg warm. I'm like, no. So I got home and like, hey, like, take me some clothes to the restroom. She's like, what happened? What happened?
He's got a loose gasket.
Hey, it was a true story. But
This isn't another episode of Fuck Ups, man. Come on, man.
so I should have said that one there.
Yeah.
The thing that I was gonna ask you, like, what was the funniest thing that happened to you or you did while being in the military?
Funniest thing that happened while I was in the military. Probably losing my leg, but like not in combat. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Because everybody assumes, but then it's like, no, I got hit by a car.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did, when I was in basic training, I thought, this is pretty funny. This speaks to how stupid I am. It was our final PT test, and I took my Icy Hot, right, and I covered my junk in it, because I thought, like, maybe the pain would make me run a little faster.
Like Speedy Gonzalez fast?
Yeah, like, I thought, like, I would be, like, driven to run faster, because, you know, I'm dying. And I mean, it worked, but I
2 miles of Icy Hot?
2 miles of Icy Hot. Well, after like push-ups and sit-ups, and then my pores opening and it like getting in there real good. But I didn't anticipate that the drill sergeants wouldn't let me go like clean it off afterwards. So I just had to like go sit in it for a couple of hours. Yeah. It's like, can I go wash this off? I did this, and they're like, no, you're gonna have to chill with it.
Oh, another thing that we were in
Tell the story.
we were in
Mistake it for lube.
for lube. We went to Mojave Desert, and we were for NTC, and we were there like for 3 weeks. And what happened was we ran out of toilet paper, so I was ripping my shirt, the brown shirt underneath the video top, and I was using that shirt. So by the end of the rotation, my shirt was already like up to here. So we went to a live shooting range, and then it was a shakedown. And then like, hey, everybody take your tops off. And I'm like, nah, I can't take my top off. So like everybody take it off. So I take it off, and my shirt is up to right here. It's up to right here.
Oh man.
So it was a task force live fire exercise. So thousands of soldiers. So they
all saw it.
They made me walk around the whole formation with my M16 like this. So everybody knew what I did.
Your chi-chi's out.
But at the end of the day, you know what happened? They gave me a coin. Hey, you were creative. And so before we sign off, you have any last words you want to say? Where can people find your work or your videos or anything you want to say?
If you want to catch some comedy, I go to Ziine in McAllen almost every Tuesday. Sometimes I'm at the Spot in Harlingen, and then if I'm doing like a big show or something and I'm working with like a headliner, those flyers will be circulating. Facebook's pretty easy to find me. You just look my name up. See a picture of me with this pipe. And on Instagram, you can find me at the One-Legged Race Champ. And that's
The one-legged race champ?
The One-Legged Race Champ. Yeah, it's true though. I'm pretty fast.
Why the one-legged? Why?
Well, because I only have one leg.
Oh.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's pretty literal.
So, have you done a Spartan races or what? Have you done a Spartan race or?
I've done a Spartan race, but not with one leg.
Oh.
I did do. I did the Baton Death March or Memorial Death March, not the original one. I'm not that old, but I did the Memorial, which is 26.2 miles on one leg. couple years
You on
ago.
the skateboard all the way?
Yeah, I limped the whole way. It was brutal.
Brutal?
Yeah. I was like, I'd been, I think, maybe 1 year post-op at that time. So like, it hadn't really toughened up yet. But it was pretty cool. I mean, I did it with some Vietnam guys. There was another cat who was he was a bilateral amputee above the knee, so he 2 missing legs with no knee joint on either side. That guy skateboards. Like, I tried to skateboard not too long ago, and it didn't work out too well.
You wouldn't move because
I just like the balance is just not. I was clumsy before this happened.
Oh.
So, but yeah, where were we?
Any last words?
Oh,
The last words?
yeah. Man. So hard to like, you know, have it, right?
Yeah.
But I guess like if you're watching and you want to do something or you want to be something or you want to say something, just do it. Like, don't worry about what other people are going to say or what other people are going to think or if other people might not even like it. Like I draw, right? And I suck. But I do it for myself, like, and I don't really like show anybody that, but like I do it. And you know, you can be a creative person and work a 9-to-5 job. This doesn't have to be like what you do all day. And I think it kind of eases the burden of living through like expressing yourself in something that, you know, not everybody's an orator, right? Not everybody's a writer, but most people have like a medium that they like to express themselves in.